Hello. Welcome along to episode 228 of Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs and I'm wearing some silly dark glasses for a reason that will become a little bit obvious later, but actually I've got to take them off because I can't see a damn thing. So just bear with me. I don't know why I do this sometimes. I want to talk about two things in this episode. One is I just want to touch briefly on the extraordinary chart success of Alex Warren, somebody I have not spoken about before in the series. He's not been around for that long, but boy, the time he's been around, he spent most of the time he's been around just being at number one. So the reason I'm kind of mentioning him is he's just having his 10th week at number one with the song Ordinary. And I think that's worth just a little shout out. And then I want to get on to talking about, obviously much more important, my brand new single, which is out the end of this week, and it's called If I Can Love Again. And that's going to be track 10 from my forthcoming dance album. So we'll get on to that in just a moment, and I'll be able to play it to you, share the video, the whole 9 yards. But let's just start with a mention of Alex Warren. I'm sure even if you don't know the guy, you will have heard the song. It's been all over the place. It's been, around, ubiquitous. It's been everywhere in the last few months, 3 months, I guess. And the thing that's so interesting about this, a couple of things. One is, over the weeks that Ordinary by Alex Warren has been number one, for quite a few of these weeks, the thing that tells you that it's going to basically stay at number one for weeks and weeks more, has been that over many of these weeks, it has been doing this odd thing that most singles don't do, which is basically increasing its reach, its streaming, its sales, week by week, and showing no sign really of abating. Now, apparently in this 10th week, it has slipped down a tiny bit, but only by, I'm looking here at some figures on Music Week, it's slipped down by about 3.6%. It's got 3.6% less traction, less interest. We're talking about streaming, we're talking about sales, etc., all kind of combined together. So it's come down 3.6% week on week, but it's 10 weeks is really not bad. And the point that this little article here in Music Week makes about this single and about Alex Warren. First of all, it mentions that he is American, which is useful to know, and he's a singer-songwriter, influencer, and YouTuber. So he's got the whole stuff. So interesting, and I'm interested just to see, how one thing connects with another. So what they're saying here on Music Week is that he joins Harry Styles, As It Was, Miley Cyrus, Flowers, and Dave and Central C's Sprinter to be one of the UK's longest running chart toppers of this decade. We're talking about the 2020s, and obviously we're kind of halfway through. And all three of those singles also managed 10 weeks at number one, so he's already alongside them. And there's just one single that managed 11 weeks at number one in this decade, and that was Ed Sheeran with Bad Habits. Now, he's also got another single called Carry You Home, which is in the top 10. And there's another single that's just been released, I think, this week. And his album is, hanging around as well. And what's also interesting is, although he's American, he has kind of cracked the UK before America. From my point of view, what I notice is, the song Ordinary is celebrating ordinariness, but in quite a kind of melancholy but sweet kind of way. It hits a certain tone in the video, in the song, which makes Ordinary kind of appealing and sweet and authentic and all those things. And he himself, I don't know what he's like as a YouTuber. I've never actually watched a YouTube episode with Alex Warren just chatting. I don't know what he's like at all. But he is, he's not particularly fantastic looking. He is Mr. Ordinary in a funny kind of way, but in a way that is, and I don't mean that as an insult. I think he embodies what he's singing about. And I think that's the thing that's so interesting. What else? I'd say there's a style to this song as well, and the style I find a bit tiresome, which is this kind of what do they call it? It's kind of big crowd singing. It's that kind of style of where you can sort of imagine that in the chorus you've got 150 people, singing along with him. I do find that a little bit tiresome, and because everyone's been doing it. I'm trying to think. What was the last one I listened to that had all that? Miles Smith, I think, also does that, but loads of people do. Benson Boone and all those people. They've got good voices and they do this kind of, crowd singing, which drives me a bit mad. But hey, Alex Warren doing well. Good on you, mate. But let's talk about something far more interesting and more exciting. And let me get on to actually playing you my new track and showing you the video. If I Can Love Again is out on this coming Friday, which I think we're going to find is about the 30th of May. And because it's the 10th track, now bear with me on this, because it's the 10th single release, and I'm going to release another album with 12 tracks on, which I tended to do before. I think I'll, always. I'm in that weird situation where I've released the 10th single, and then I release the whole album. What I don't want is to have released absolutely every track as a single by the time I release the album, because then there's not much incentive to go and find the other track. So at the very least, there can be one track that people won't have heard when I release it. But if you make it more than one track, you're kind of throwing away the opportunity to pitch it to the editorial group at Spotify. So it's a bit of a betwixt and between. You want to get everything put in front of the editorial board, but at the same time, you could make life a bit boring by having released every single thing that you're making as a single in the run up to releasing the album. So what that really means is that on Friday, this new single is going to come out, and then another month or so later, I'm basically ready to release the whole album. And I might have a think about what's the track order. Is the running order of the album going to be the same as the release schedule has been, or will I play around with it? Do any of the tracks need a bit more mixing, because this is the opportunity to do that if I want to? And then basically what I start doing is thinking about what's the look and feel of the album that's going to come after. So I do kind of get straight into what's coming next. What's the cover art going to be? What's the kind of basic theme? Is there a lead track that gives its name to the whole album? Well, I haven't really thought about any of those things, so we'll leave that and we'll come on and talk about some of those big decisions a little bit later on. And in the meantime, we want to talk about If I Can Love Again. Now, having just been a bit rude to Alex Warren about these kind of crowd vocals, on If I Can Love Again, there are a lot of vocals, but it's not crowd vocals, it's just me doing lots of vocals. And I just counted up, because I'm going to play some of this to you, is, for the chorus, for example, there are 10 lines of vocals, 7 doing one melody and 3 doing a kind of a counter thing. So let's have a listen. Let's have a listen. So we're kind of straight into kind of what it sounds like. I haven't told you anything about what the song's about, but I'm not sure you need to know what the song's about, because it's not really about anything particularly. It's a dance track and it's fun, and it hasn't got a message. It's just a fun track, and it's been fun to do, fun to sing, fun to write. So it kind of lends itself to being released. So without further ado, let's just have a listen to some aspects of the track. Okay, so here comes a big vocal chorus, and it's all of those 10 lines of vocals. It goes like this. Breathing in, we're skin to skin, but I don't know if I can love again. Take me in, it's not a sin, but I don't know if I can love again. Never stop. And just in case you're wondering what the difference is between the blue lines and the green lines of vocals there, the green lines are doing the never stop. The lines that go in between, if you like. Should you have a listen again? That's the green line. Love again, that's the green line. It's not a sin, but I don't know if I can love again. Okay, and how about hearing the track without the vocals? That's always the other way that's kind of fun to do. Hold on one moment. Have a listen to this. Hear quite clearly in there the big string sample, which makes it sound quite sort of disco-y. So there we go. That's a little insight into, behind the curtain of If I Can Love Again. Okay, I hope you found that fun. So I made a video the other day and I wasn't quite sure what to do in it, and because it doesn't lend itself easily to kind of particular activities, it seemed best just to kind of do a performance of it. And it's been sunny and quite warm here in the south of England. So I did, I basically put on my dark glasses and, danced about like an idiot here in this studio, being a pop star. And it's amazing, isn't it, how just a pair of simple shades turns you into, a glamorous kind of rock and roll. You mean it doesn't? Such a nuisance. It's interesting how shades, for some people, make them look glamorous and exciting. Okay, without any more nonsense, let's hear the track. It's called If I Can Love Again. It's out on Friday. I hope you really like it. What obviously you do need to do is to hear it many times, learn it, share it, and dance around, because this is going to be my dance album. The album is going to be called Might As Well Dance, and here, just raising a cup of slightly cold coffee to you, here is track 10, If I Can Love Again. And I'll be right back because there's a Gold Hawk Foxes single coming out the very week after. You take care now. Bye-bye. I like what you're doing. I like the feeling that I'm feeling inside. I like where you're going. If you don't mind, I'll come along for the ride. I think I've been drifting like a little boat on the rising tide. I like what you're doing. Lock me in and I'm electrified. Breathing in, we're skin to skin, but I don't know if I can love again. Take me in, it's not a sin, but I don't know if I can love again. Never stop, even if I'm begging you and threatening that I will call the cops. That's so good. I would stay right here forever if I could. I like what you're thinking. Looks like when we were always gonna collide. I'll have what you're drinking. I like the promise that your blue eyes implied. What am I risking? I don't have a reputation to lose, and I get the feeling you're gonna make an offer that I cannot refuse. Breathing in, we're skin to skin, but I don't know if I can love again.
fucking love again.